This is the new Hyundai SantaFe. Well, it's officially a facelift and midlife update of the car you could buy in showrooms early last year. But when you dig a little deeper, you come to realise that it's not far off being a brand new car. In fact, it shares a lot in common with the Kia Sorento. Both 7-seat SUVs, they're both built on the same platform, and crucially, they undercut their German rivals on price. So, can this new SantaFe take it to its more expensive competition and, more importantly, its Kia sibling? Well, we're about to find out. But before I get into the review, remember to hit the like button if you like what you see and subscribe for more awesome videos just like this one. Now, before I get into the design, it's worth noting that the updated Hyundai SantaFe is built on a new production platform, which doesn't actually make a lot of sense because it's the same thing that underpins the new Kia Sorento, and that's classed as the new Kia Sorento, yet this is the updated Hyundai SantaFe. It's almost unheard of that a facelift, which is usually just a tweaked design and a slightly improved interior, would move to a new production platform. And with it, it's a little bit longer, and it also has revised suspension as well. But anyway, onto the actual physical design differences. The big thing you'll notice is this gigantic grille. I'm sure if someone got in the car and revved the engine, I'd probably be sucked into the engines. Definitely gives the car a lot more road presence, and either side of it you've got these new daytime LED lights which kind of form a T-shape. There are small changes at the back. You now have a reflective strip between the two tail lights. Unfortunately, it's not a full LED bar that lights up, and you've also got a new mix of wheels. But let me know what you think. Do you prefer the design of the SantaFe or the Kia Sorento? Drop me a comment down below and I'll come and join you. Things get a bit more bizarre under the bonnet because you've got one engine to choose from, essentially. It's a 1.6 litre petrol engine, but you can get it in different kinds of hybrid form. There's the self-charging hybrid, which is basically Hyundai's fancy way of calling it a normal hybrid, where you can't charge it up and you don't have control over when you're in electric energy or using the petrol motor. And that will give you 227 brake horsepower, which you can have in either front or all-wheel drive form. Then there's the plug-in hybrid model, which uses the same engine but produces 261 brake horsepower and can be charged up, as the name suggests, and be driven on electric power alone for up to 34 miles. And you're in charge of that. You can tell it when you want to be an electric car, unlike the self-charging hybrid. Now, the old version was available with a diesel as well. And you can get a diesel SantaFe, but if you want it, it's the pre-facelift car. So Hyundai still sells the pre-facelift in diesel form only. So if you want a diesel, it's the old car. If you want a petrol, it's a hybrid, and it's this lovely new one. Boy, it sure is spacious in the back of the Hyundai SantaFe, but not as spacious as it was before. We've got 571 litres back here, which is actually less than what you had on the pre-facelifted model, which I assume is to do with the hybrid system at the back. It's actually smaller than what you get on a Kia Sorento as well, which is really strange because they share the same platform, but the Kia comes in at 616 litres. It's also smaller than its rivals as well, like the Skoda Kodiaq, but it's still pretty damn spacious back here. And you can open up more room if you want as well by simply pressing these two buttons at the back, and the rear seats will go flat. And of course, this is a 7-seater, so if I bring up the rearmost seats, we've still got a bit of space for shopping back here. Not a lot, but it'll do the trick. The updates on the inside are arguably just as important because it all makes the car feel like it's the premium car the SantaFe has always wanted to be. This new center console is the headline upgrade, and it comes with a bunch of buttons, maybe a bit too many, controlling everything from the climate settings to the different driver modes. That's partnered up with a new touchscreen infotainment system that's one of the most responsive on the market, though it's not quite as sharp as some of its rivals. And there are also plenty of USB ports for connectivity and charging, along with 12-volt chargers in the front and rear, plus a wireless charger that, look at this, is really neatly integrated into the center console. And topping it all off is a new digital instrument panel, which again is highly customizable and gives the car just such a premium feel. But the cherry on the cake, though, is the improvement in build quality. Mainly these leather seats. These really are ultra comfortable, and you've got this really kind of nice leather wrap on the dashboard as well. In fact, it kind of reminds me of a budget Aston Martin DBX. And a tenuous link to our review, which we did lately. Why don't you click the link in the top right-hand corner to go check that out. So how much does this all cost for a budget Aston Martin DBX, which it absolutely isn't? Anyway, well, it comes in at 40 grand and can go all the way up to £49,000, which is a lot of money to spend on a Hyundai. But think of it like this. An Audi Q7 or a Volvo XC90 is considerably more expensive. Both are 7-seaters, both feel a little bit more premium, but is it like a £10,000 difference? I don't know. I think if you want something that is just a good high-quality 7-seater, then maybe you want something like a Skoda Kodiaq, whereas this kind of sits in the middle between the two. It's relatively affordable, but has a sense of premiumness to it as well. Getting in the back is dead simple, but the first thing I recommend you do before getting in there is slide the front bench forwards just a little bit, otherwise you're going to have absolutely no legroom whatsoever. Now, you don't actually have to manually fold the seat down either. There's a little button at the top here which automatically moves the seat forwards, and then you just got to jump in. Once you're back here, there obviously aren't a lot of luxuries. I mean, we've got lovely leather seats, but the base is flat, so you sit kind of uncomfortably, but that's what you get in a 7-seater. We have creature comforts though, like air conditioning controls on one side, but not the other. So whoever's on the right has control over how hot or cold it is at the back. And if you absolutely hate the people that are in front of you, you can use the boot controls to flatten them. Getting out the back couldn't be easier. All I've got to do is press this button again and daintily squeeze myself out of the third row, put the seat back into position like that, and slide it back for more legroom. The back is also a really lovely place to be. Well, I say the back, the second row. We've got these really lovely leather seats back here that are really very, very comfortable. And I've got lots of leg and headroom. The passenger seat is in my position. Legroom is absolutely fine. Headroom could be a bit on the tight side if you were over 6 foot. Just for reference, I'm a little bit under 6 foot, but it could be a bit tight. But that's mainly because we've got the panoramic roof, which always cuts into headroom. Now, you can actually recline even further if you want to, which gives you the most comfortable rear seat driving experience that I've felt in a long time. I could really use this as a bed. And you could also charge up as well on the go. We've got a couple of USB chargers down there, which is great for yourself and another passenger. But if you sat in the middle, well, tough luck. Before I jump into what this is like on the road, just so you know, the SantaFe that we've got is the self-charging hybrid. So it's not the PHEV, the PHEV. It's one that will basically kick in the electric motor automatically. And that usually happens at low speed or when you boot it away from a set of traffic lights. It'll cut in and just give you that electric boost, but also eke out a bit more fuel at lower speeds. So what kind of MPG does that return? Well, I've been getting around 41, which when you think about it isn't too bad because we've got a really very big car here. It was about on par with what I managed to get in the old car, but this one conforms to all the latest Euro emission stuff. As for how it drives, it's pretty nice. It's kind of standard SantaFe really. It's not a mind-blowingly brilliant driving experience. I think if you want that ultra slick and smooth SUV drive, then you do spend a bit more and go for something like an Audi Q7. But given its price range, given what it is, it's not too bad back here. And you do have different driving modes to change things up. So you can put it in Eco for the most eco-friendly of settings. We can also have it in sport as well, which makes the dials go red and really sharpens up the throttle response. It does feel quite a bit quicker. And there's also smart as well, which is a little bit like your normal mode. And in regard to the hybrid system itself and how that works, it does feel a little bit like it's one of like two phases. So in most cars, it's pretty instant. You're driving along, the petrol motor kicks in and you go on, no problem. Whereas in this, and it's only really when you get in the car for the first time and you drive it for the first hour or two, that you notice there's just a slight gap between going from electric power to full hybrid power, as if the engine is just kind of like whirring itself up. It's not something that really feels too intrusive after a while, but you might notice it on your first drive. Performance isn't too bad, but realistically I would probably want the PHEV, because not only has it got a bit more poke, but quite like the idea of being able to switch over to electric power alone and have those 34 miles of electric range. Now in reality you're probably going to get 20-25 miles rather than 34, but still, if you've got a 10-mile commute, hey, you've got all electric driving to and from work, and if you can't charge at work, maybe you'll be able to charge at home. If you find yourself going into some rough stuff, then you've actually got different terrain modes to go through. So if I press the terrain button, I can choose between snow, mud and sand, none of which I'm on at the moment. But if you find yourself at the beach and you need to get a bit more grip, just go into the sand mode and you should be able to pull away nicely in your Hyundai SantaFe. There's no denying the SantaFe is a better car now than it was before, particularly with the interior upgrade that we've got. And the last car, it just didn't really feel like it was worth 40 grand. But it does now. I feel like you're getting almost a bit of a bargain, really, even if you go kind of towards the mids kind of way in the range, which is usually the sweet spot in the Hyundai range. I still prefer the Sorento, and if you want to watch our full review of that, click the link in the top right hand corner, because it really is a very impressive car. And although these two cars are very similar underneath, I think I prefer the Kia just a little bit more. It just feels a little bit more refined. But I probably would go with the plug-in hybrid version. I think the self-charging hybrid is great. It is one step above a mild hybrid, which kind of seems a little bit pointless, really, in all fairness. But I think if you want to go down that route, just go the full whack, go get the plug-in hybrid, and get the benefit of going back and forth to work on electric power alone. And of course, if you like the look of the SantaFe, go check out yesauto.com, because we've got plenty of deals on new and used models, so you might be able to pick up a bit of a deal.